Welcome everyone. Today we're going to have a lesson on researching databases for your research report, which your teacher has told me is about the United States in World War II. So that is a really broad subject, right? The United States in World War II is a really broad subject. So we're going to need to narrow it down. And to do that, we're going to do some research in some databases. The first thing you need to know is what a database is. And a database is basically just a storage place for a lot of information. Information of a certain type is stored in a certain place, and that's called a database. And then there are different ways that you can search the database to find the information that you're looking for. Today we're going to search the catalog, which is a database of all of the materials that we have in our school library. So the information on all the different books and materials that we have in our school library is saved in this database. And the cool thing about databases is you can search them in lots of different ways. So unlike a storage of physical things like Legos, where I could sort them either by color or by type, like whether it was a 2x4 or a character or an axle piece, or I could sort them by kit that it goes to, but I couldn't do that all at once. The cool thing about databases is that they can search by different attributes, and so they can sort and group those things for you in all different ways, all at the same time, depending on what you're looking for. So we're going to search in the catalog and in OnePath Express, and I'm also going to show you a search engine called EBSCOhost Academic Search Complete that can find different kinds of articles and journals and books as well. But to start, we're just going to start in our home catalog with the resources available at our library. Oh, it says OnePath Express is not available. That's odd. We might have to figure that out in a minute. I might need to log on in with my administrator account. So let's see. If I log in my administrator account, let me go to the catalog again. Basic, and does OnePath Express work now? That is odd. Even when I'm logged on. Okay, we're going to start doing a search in our home catalog for our library, the resources available at our library. So this is our basic search. You see the tab here, it says basic. And in here we can type what we're looking for. Now we know that we are looking for resources on the United States in World War II. Well, let's look at the different ways you can search. You can search by keyword. And keyword is the broadest kind of search you can do. So if we search for World War II in keyword, it's going to bring up any record and every record in our library that has World War II anywhere in the record, whether it's in the title, whether it's in the description, whether it's the subject listed, anywhere in the record that says World War II, it will bring up all those records. So it's a good place to start if you are just browsing and you want to find everything that's out there. But if you're looking for something specific, a lot of times it can bring back too many results and it's not exactly what you want. So use keyword when you're not sure exactly what you're looking for and you want to see the most results possible. It's a good place to start. Title searches are just that. They're searching for the words, whatever the search term you put in here, it has to appear in the title. So if we put the search term World War II here, it would only bring back books that had a title that said World War II in it. Wouldn't bring back any books, other books. Even if it was a book about World War II, if the title didn't say World War II in the title, it wouldn't bring it back. So it's best to do title searches when you actually know the title of the book you're looking for. Like if you're looking for, Oliver Twist, then you could type that in and see if we had it in the library. But if you don't know the exact book you're looking for, title searches are probably not the best to use. Author searches are good for when you know the author of the book that you want. Sometimes you know an author that you like and you want to find more books by that author, and so you can type in the author and it'll list all of the books by that author. But if we typed in World War II, there's no author named World War II, so we're not going to use an author search today. Subject searches are for the subject of the book. So if I typed in World War II, the database would search for any records that listed as a subject World War II. The tricky thing about subject searches is they use a very specific vocabulary the librarians use to say what the subject of different books is. So sometimes you have to try out a few different phrases or type it a few different ways to figure out exactly how the computer system is listing the subject you're thinking of. Luckily in Follett Destiny, they give you a hint to help you find how they write the subject, and I will show you that a little bit later. But we could use a subject search to look for World War II in the United States because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for books about World War II and the United States. Series searches are for series of books, like if you were looking for the Lemony Snicket books, or there was a series of books, DK Eyewitness books, you could use that way. So series, if you know the name of a series that's about what you're looking for, you can type that in there. But today we're probably going to use mostly keyword search and subject search, which are the best for browsing. So in our search, we are going to type World War II and United States. So you'll see that I am putting quotes around World War II and quotes around United States. And then I'm using the word "and" in between them. That's because when you search a database, most databases use what's called Boolean logic. You learned about it in math class, but it means that when I say "and," it's going to look for all of the terms that I wrote in the box. So it's going to look for World War II and United States, and it's going to bring me back all of the results that show World War II and United States. If I didn't say that, I could say World War II or United States, and then it would bring me back all of the results for World War II And it would bring me back all of the results for the United States. So it would bring me all results for World War II and all of the results for United States. And it would give me a lot of results. That would have a lot of results about the United States, which is not what we want. So we're not going to use that. The other Boolean logic term you can use is not. If I typed in World War II, not United States, it would bring me back all of the results about World War II as long as United States was not in the record. If it was specifically mentioned United States in the record about World War II, then it would exclude that result for us and we wouldn't see it. So for our purposes, we want World War II and the United States. Now I put these in quotes because in this particular search engine, it assumes, if you don't write the word and, it assumes the word and. So it would look for world and war and two and United and States, and it would probably bring us back pretty similar results. But if you want to make sure, but not all of the search engines in every database are like that. So if you want to make sure that words that are together in a phrase, like World War II is a phrase, United States is a phrase, the way you can tell the computer that it's a phrase that you're looking for those words in that sequence together is by putting quotation marks around it. So we put World War II and United States. Now I'm going to do this as a keyword search because I want to find any books that have World War II and United States anywhere in their record, even if it's just in the description, even if it's not officially listed as a subject, although I could do this as a subject search too. But that's probably going to bring me back a lot of results. So we're going to use what are called limiters to make sure that we don't get too many results, that we get the results that are most relevant for our purposes for this research assignment. So we are only looking for resources that are available at our high school, West Chester High School. For material, we have different types of material we could use. We could look for just books or just pictures, just sound recordings. But for our purposes, for starting, for browsing, I think we're going to say any type of material is acceptable in any location. The reading level, this is good if you are a struggling reader and you can only read to a certain level. You can put your reading level in, but I'm going to assume that most of you are reading at an acceptable level, so we will leave that blank. But our interest level, we have books in this high school library that are more appropriate for elementary age all the way up through high school. So we're going to say interest level from, say, 7th grade. That will be a little easy for you guys, but it could be a good place to start, all the way up to young adult. That way we're not going to get a lot of 2nd and 3rd grade picture books about World War II. We're going to find things that are appropriate for our level of research. And we're not doing anything with the rating program right now, so we're not going to worry about that. So we've got our search terms, World War II and United States, in quotes because they're phrases. We've got our limiters. We're going to limit it to materials in our library with an interest level from 7th grade to young adult. And we're going to do a keyword search. So I'm going to click on keyword. And we come up with all of these different resources. So let's skim this and see if there are any materials that are interesting to us that might be interesting to write a report about. So let's see. Strategic inventions of the Cold War. This land is our land. Cause and effect World War II. So that's relevant. Women on the U.S. home front. On the Essential Library of World War II. So that seems like a good series. Essential Library of World War II. Native American Code Talkers. Another river, another town. Courage has no color. Joseph Stalin. So it brings back 12 of results for this level. So let's go back for a moment, and I just want to show you how to do an advanced search. So that was our basic search, keyword search. But if we go back to our library search, you'll see up here is something called Power. Power is what they call an advanced search in Follett Destiny. Most library searches would call it an advanced search, but in Destiny it's called the Power search. So we can click on this tab, and we can, and this is another way to search, and it helps you with your Boolean logic, the and, the or, and the not. It helps you here. And then it has the limiters. It actually has a few extra limiters that we didn't see on the basic search, like by call number. If we knew the call number section that we wanted to look in, we could limit by that. And it has this cool feature down here where you can click on include online resources. So if you click on this, it will actually search certain websites and online resources for our same search terms. So up here, let's do this search again, but let's use our advanced search where they help us with the Boolean logic. And we're going to continue to use keyword searches, not subject searches, but keyword searches. So we're going to write World War II. And I'm going to add another term. I'm going to say World War II or World War II, or World War II with the number 2, because some books might have typed it World War II with the Roman numeral 2, and some books in some records might have listed it World War II with the numeral 2. So we're going to look for World War II or World War II with the numeral, and United States. Okay, we want it at our high school, any type of material, any publication year. We will leave the call numbers open for now. Circulation type, all circulation types, allocations, reading level, and then we're going to do interest level from 7 to young adult. And we're going to include our online resources. This is a list of the online resources that we can use. Wikipedia would be useful, School2 in Orange Grove. Digital library could be useful. I don't think AccuWeather is going to be very useful. CNN.com possibly. The Dictionary of Canadian Biographies probably is not going to be useful in this case, since it's about the United States and World War II. The CIA World Factbook could. Credo Reference or Fact Monster possibly. So we'll leave those checked. Now let's search. And it takes us directly to our OneSearch tab. So these are our online resources. And it shows us how many results it found for our search term in the online resources. So CNN found 209 results. That's a lot of results. Wikipedia found 173,000 results. So that's a lot of results. We'll probably want to narrow down our search before we start looking at these online resources. But let's go back to our titles, the titles of the materials that we have in our library, and see what we have. So again, we have 12 resources, which is what we got with our basic search. It looks like they're slightly different though. It looks like we got a few different resources listed. In this way. So let's see what sounds interesting to us. So let's look at cause and effect World War II. So when we click on it, we can read a summary here of what the book's about. That's the quickest way for us to find out if it's relevant to what we're looking for. So it says, discusses how World War II resulted in the defeat of the Axis powers and left the United States and the Soviet Union as antagonists in the developing Cold War. So this is a book that would be relevant to our research about United States in World War II. I also want to show you down here this Explore section. So the Explore section helps us find similar kinds of books. It will show us the way the subject is listed in the catalog and can also help us find different series, authors. So if we look down here, we see that one of the things we can search in the Explore is World War 1939-1945. So that's World War II. That is how, in this system, they write, those are the search terms they use for World War II. They don't call it World War II, they call it World War 1939 to 1945. But what's really cool about this particular system is that instead of going back and searching again for World War 1939 through 1945, we can just click Find It. And it'll pull up all of the resources with that subject. So cause and effect World War II, but look, it brings back more. It brings it back 16 titles this time. We can skim through and see if there is a particular title that looks interesting to us. So let's look at this one, the Native American Code Talkers. That sounds interesting. So let's read our summary here. It says, contains a history of the Navajo Code Talkers, Native Americans who divided its codes using their native languages that were used by the United States military in World War II and never broken. That's interesting. I didn't know about that. Maybe that would be a good subject for a report. But just in case we're not sure, let's go back down to our Explore section. We've already searched for World War 1935, but look, this book is part of a series called The Essential Library of World War II. Maybe there are more books in that series that might be interesting or provide good subjects for our report. So let's see more on that series. Oh, look at all of these. So they have women on the U.S. home front, Native American Code Talkers, bombing of Pearl Harbor, World War II espionage, spies, the dropping of the atomic bomb, World War II weapons, Battle of Britain. So these are all really fascinating topics, and they're more specific. So these might be really great topics for your report. I see here that the reading level is 8.9 and the interest level is for 5th to 8th graders. So they might be a little bit easy to read, but they probably would be a really great start to finding the topic that interested us, and then we could find more resources. So say we look at all of these series and think they're really interesting, but we decide to focus more on the Native American Code Talkers. So let's go back to the Native American Code Talkers, and we'll look at the call number, we'll go locate that resource in our library, and we'll check it out. Let's just say that we decide that this is our topic that we want to research more. Well, let's look at how we can find out more about the Native American Code Talkers in some of our other databases. So we're going to come over here to WebPath Express. And in WebPath Express, we're going to look for Native American Code Talkers. So remember, we want to find that whole phrase together, Native American Code Talkers. So we're going to put it in parentheses so that we find the whole phrase together, and we're going to search it. Now this WebPath Express searches web resources, but what's nice about this database is it has gathered safe web resources from safe websites, and it has also rated them for the grade level that they are appropriate for, the reading level and grade level that they're appropriate for. So instead of just searching for Native American Code Talkers in Google, this is a selected database of specific websites based on their appropriate grade level. So we're going to search this database of these websites for Native American Code Talkers. And it says WebPath Express is not available right now. Well, that's worrisome. We will leave WebPath Express for a moment, and we will go instead to EBSCOhost. So EBSCOhost is another database that has a lot of online journals, books, and selected records. EBSCOhost libraries subscribe to it, so we pay money to have access to these records. And lucky for you, our library has access to EBSCOhost, their Academic Search Complete database, which has specific titles. So we're going to look again for Native American Code Talkers. Remember, we're putting it in quotations because on EBSCOhost it does not necessarily assume the "and" in between each of these words. And if we didn't, it might bring us back results that just had native in it, or just had code in it, or just had talkers in it and didn't include the other words. Those results would come further down on the list, but it would bring us back all those results. And we want only results that have all of these words together in this phrase. So we're going to search. Oh, and look, down here are our limiters again. So we're searching using a Boolean phrase, Native American Code Talkers. And let's limit it to only full text results. So we don't want to get abstracts, which are just little summaries of the resource. We want to only find things where we can see the full article or the full book or the full resource online. It doesn't need to be a peer-reviewed journal. Those are more academic journals, more at the college level. As you get into college, you only want to look at peer-reviewed journals. But for our assignment, it doesn't have to be a peer-reviewed. And we don't know what publication it's going to be in or how long it's going to be. So we're going to leave all of this general and unselected. We're going to hit search. search. And we are having system problems. Let me log in. Let's go to Academic Search Complete. Okay, back where we were before. Native American Code Talkers. Usually your capitalization is not very important for the different searches on most databases. They don't pay a lot of attention to the capitalization, but sometimes it does matter. So for now we will try it without the capitalization, but we can try again with proper capitalization later. We're going to use our Boolean phrase, so all of this together. We're looking for full text. And we're going to do a search. And look at these results. So we have Shez Nestor and the Unbreakable Code, a Navajo code talker story. So right away, the very first result, that looks like a relevant result. The same article, speaking in tongues. It says subjects, Native American code talkers. So we can click on it to see if it's appropriate for us. And then the abstract is a summary of the article. So it says the article focuses on American Indian code talkers used by the U.S. during World War II to prevent. Look how they did World War II. They wrote it World War II with the number 2 written out. So that's another way we could search for World War II. But during World War II, to prevent enemy decoding of battlefield radio and telephone traffic. Topics discussed include practices made by military forces for keeping their written operational messages safe using complex codes and adoption of field telephones and radios. So this would be a relevant article. We might choose to save this article. We could add it to a folder or save it over here onto our computer or onto our thumb drive to go back and read later. And if we wanted to read the whole article, we would click over here where it says PDF full text. And we would get the whole article. And we could save it then onto our computer or onto our thumb drive to reference again later. So I want to point out just one or two more little tricks for searching. We'll do it on EBSCOhost search. So we can use our Boolean logic here by saying Native American code talkers and World War, let's do it, spell it 2 like they did in that record we saw, and search, and see it brings back just these two. So see here they wrote World War II with 2 Roman numeral, but it did bring us back the same record we were looking for too, where it says World War II with the numeral, writing out the numeral 2. If we wanted to get really complicated, we could try Native American code talkers and world, and then put in parentheses, World War, parentheses in quotations, World War II or World War II with the numeral 2 or World War II spelled out, any of those, and search. That's called nested logic. And see, then we get more results because they were searching for World War II spelled TWO, but also World War II as the Roman numeral and so forth. But say we didn't want to type all of that out. There are actually some other shortcuts you can take. So we could say Native American code talkers and we'll say World War, but then I'm going to put a truncation. This is a wildcard truncation, so I'm going to put a star. And that means anything that comes after World War. It will bring me back all of the results for anything that comes after World War. So it could be World War I, World War II, World War and the Scorpions. Anything that comes after World War, it's going to bring back. But since we're using our Boolean logic, the and, it's only going to bring back things that have to do with World War something and Native American code talkers. So then we can search. And it brings us back those same 8 results that we saw when we said World War II spelled out all the different ways. So this is a wildcard truncation, and it's useful when you don't know exactly how something's written. For a different example, not for our topic, but suppose you wanted to research World War II and women. So you might, or women in world wars. So then you might try World War, and we're going to use our truncation. So that could be World War I, World War II, and we're going to type WIM, and I'm going to put a wild card for our second to the last letter because it could be World War and women, or it could be World War and woman. So this will bring me back results for women or a woman specifically. So this is women scientists who won the Great War. But this one has a search for a woman of no importance. So these 2 results would not have been brought back together if I hadn't put the wild card for the A or the E right there. So that's when truncation wildcards are really useful. Okay, are there any questions? Now to explore, I want you to pair up with a study partner. I want you to do some searches on Follett Destiny for our catalog and possibly also EBSCOhost. Use your Boolean logic. Use your quotations for your phrases. Use wildcard truncations to help you look for the World War II spelled in different ways. And see if you can find a topic that is of interest to you for your report. I'm going to check back with you in 10 minutes and I want to hear what your ideas are for your report. All right, go to it.